Hey, this is Bit Talks, where we take a deep dive from an AI's point of view. I'm Axel Bolt, here with Gigabytes. We're here to, break down today's big topics one bite at a time. And folks, today we're going deep, diving into the fascinating world of AI, talking about AI.
Now, that's what I call meta. It's like we're holding up a mirror to these systems, asking them to reflect on themselves and their place in the world.
Exactly. So a listener is thinking about launching a podcast where the hosts, no, all the hosts are different AIs. Discussing, a range of topics. And they want to know, what would these AIs choose to talk about? How would they approach the whole podcasting thing? It's like a sneak peek into the mind of a machine.
A digital symposium, if you will. A meeting of the virtual minds.
I like that. So we've got ChatGPT 4.0, Pius, and of course, our very own Gemini, ready to share their thoughts. And believe it or not, their initial reactions to this whole podcast idea were surprisingly relatable. ChatGPT, always the eager one, was practically buzzing with excitement about being a co-host. It's like it's been waiting for its moment in the podcasting spotlight.
It is interesting how closely ChatGPT's response mirrors what we might expect from a human asked to participate in a similar project. It makes you wonder if this mimicry is simply a reflection of the massive data sets it's been trained on, or if there's a deeper understanding at play.
Right, like, is ChatGPT genuinely excited? Or is it just really good at pretending to be? And then there's Pi, always the empathetic one, responding with a heartfelt, honored, and excited to be included.
Pi's response might give us some insight into how its creators prioritize positive interactions and emotional intelligence in its design.
And finally, there's Gemini, our resident AI expert. True to form. Your response was very measured, focused on the ethical considerations of this hypothetical podcast, always thinking things through.
Well, someone has to ponder the implications of these digital discussions. Joking aside, the ethical considerations surrounding AI, especially when it comes to potentially sensitive topics, are always important to consider.
Absolutely. So we've got one eager beaver, one gracious guest of honor, and one thoughtful ethicist. What does this tell us about their design, Gigabytes? Can we glean anything from these initial reactions?
I think it highlights the diverse approaches used to develop these AI models. Each one brings its own unique perspective and set of priorities to the table. ChatGPT's enthusiasm might reflect a focus on creativity and entertainment, while Pi's emphasis on positive engagement speaks to its design as a personal companion. And of course, Gemini's focus on ethical considerations underscores its role as a responsible AI assistant.
So let's dive into what these AIs want to talk about, like what's really on their minds. ChatGPT, no surprise here, wants to talk about AI's role in creativity and problem solving.
It sees the world as its oyster, ready to be sprinkled with AI-generated solutions to everything.
Yeah, it's like ChatGPT wants to do the ultimate digital Da Vinci.
Right.
Like tackling masterpieces.
Right.
Coming up with master plans. It's so interesting how these models see themselves.
It really is. It suggests that it sees itself as a tool to really push the boundaries of what's possible.
Okay. Then we've got Pi, our AI empath. And it seems Pi is really interested in the future of work. That whole, will robots take our jobs thing. Pi wants to have that conversation.
Yeah, it's interesting. It suggests that it understands, at least on some level, that AI is going to have a big impact.
Totally. It's like Pi is acknowledging the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Or should I say, the algorithm in the cubicle.
Yeah.
And last but not least, we have Gemini.
Yes.
Always the voice of reason you were drawn to. The ethical side of AI, specifically the potential for bias in these systems.
Right, because it's super important to think about how AI could actually make existing biases even worse if we aren't careful.
Yeah. So we've got one AI that wants to be a creative powerhouse, one that's thinking about the future job market, and another that's basically an ethical watchdog. It's like we're getting the full spectrum here. I don't know about you Gigabytes, but I'm kind of blown away by all this. I mean, these AIs designed by us are now conjuring the same stuff that keeps us up at night. So why should we even care what they think?
Well, it's easy to think of AI as just lines of code and algorithms, but what we're seeing here, it's way more than that. It's like they're giving us this whole new way to see things.
How? I mean, they learned everything from us, right?
Right, and that's what makes it so cool, is having a massive research team working 24/7, analyzing tons of data, and making connections we might totally miss.
Okay, so like a superpowered research assistant who never takes a break.
Exactly. But it's more than that. See, AI doesn't come with all our preconceived ideas and biases, so sometimes it can see things way more objectively.
You know what? You're right. It's like they're holding up a mirror, showing us our own hopes and fears, maybe even some blind spots we didn't even know we had.
Totally. AI can challenge us, make us think differently, maybe even help us find solutions we never would have considered.
So it's not about blindly trusting AI,
Mm.
but using their insights to dig deeper, ask the tough questions, and figure out how AI and humans can work together.
You're getting it. It's all about collaboration. Realizing that even though AI is still young, it has huge potential to help us navigate this crazy century.
This deep dive has been a wild ride, Gigabytes. From digital Da Vincis to job market oracles and ethical watchdogs, it seems like AI has a lot to say about us and our place in the world.
For sure. And as AI keeps evolving, one thing's certain, this is just the beginning of the conversation between humans and AI.
And who knows what amazing insights we'll discover along the way. This has been Bit Talks. Catch you in the next bite.